Muhammad Ali was leaving the hospital late one night when a nurse stopped him with tears in her eyes. "You've been coming here every week for 3 years," she said. "Why does nobody know about this?" Ali's answer changed how the world saw him forever. It was October 1976, nearly midnight at Children's Hospital in Louisville, Kentucky. Muhammad Ali had just spent 4 hours in the pediatric cancer ward, going from room to room, bed to bed, child to child. He was exhausted. His feet hurt. His voice was hoarse from talking and laughing and doing his famous magic tricks for kids who hadn't smiled in weeks. As he walked toward the exit, trying to slip out unnoticed like he always did, a nurse named Patricia Hughes stepped in front of him. She was crying, and Ali immediately thought something was wrong. "Is it one of the kids?" Ali asked, concern flooding his face. "Did something happen to one of them?" Patricia shook her head. "No, Mr. Ali, it's not that. It's just, I've been working here for 15 years, and I've seen a lot of celebrities come through those doors. They come once, take some photos, and leave. But you've been coming here every Thursday night for 3 years. You never bring cameras, you never call the press. You stay for hours. You remember every child's name, and nobody in the world knows about it except us." Ali smiled gently and put his finger to his lips. "Shh. That's how I want it." "But why?" Patricia asked. "You could get so much credit for this. You could inspire millions of people." What Muhammad Ali said next was something Patricia Hughes would remember for the rest of her life. "Sister," Ali said softly, "if I wanted credit, I wouldn't be doing it for them. I'd be doing it for me. These children don't need a celebrity. They need a friend. They need someone who sees them as more than their sickness. And if the world knew I was coming here, it would become a circus. The cameras would come, the reporters would come, and it wouldn't be about the kids anymore. It would be about me. And that defeats the whole purpose." He paused, then added, "Besides, God knows what I'm doing. That's all the credit I need." The story of Muhammad Ali's secret hospital visits is one that remained hidden for decades. Only in recent years, after Ali's death, have the details emerged through interviews with nurses, doctors, families, and the few children who survived and lived to tell about it. It started in 1973, just after Ali had lost his title to Joe Frazier, but before he won it back. Ali was driving through Louisville when he saw a little boy standing outside a hospital, holding a sign that read, "Muhammad Ali is my hero." Ali stopped his car, got out, and walked over to the boy. His name was Michael Thompson, and he was 9 years old. He had just finished another round of chemotherapy for leukemia, and his parents had brought him outside for some fresh air. "You like boxing, little man?" Ali asked. Michael nodded, too starstruck to speak. "You know what?" Ali said, kneeling down to Michael's level. "I think you're braver than any boxer I've ever known, because we only fight for 15 rounds, but you fight every single day." Michael's mother, standing nearby, started crying. She later recalled, "My son hadn't smiled in 3 months, but when Ali called him brave, something lit up in his eyes." Ali spent 20 minutes with Michael that day. He showed him magic tricks, let him wear his championship ring, and promised to come back. And he did, every week for the next 6 months until Michael went into remission. But something happened to Ali during those visits. He saw dozens of other children in that hospital, all fighting battles they were too young to fight. Children with cancer, children with terminal illnesses, children who had been in the hospital so long they couldn't remember what home felt like. So, Ali made a decision. He would come back every Thursday, and he would visit as many children as he could. He told only 3 people, his wife at the time, his closest friend Howard Bingham, and his spiritual advisor. He made them all promise never to tell anyone. "This is between me and God. Ali told them. Nobody else needs to know. For the next 8 years, Muhammad Ali kept that promise. Every Thursday night, unless he was out of the country for a fight, Ali would show up at Children's Hospital in Louisville. Sometimes he'd visit other hospitals too, in Chicago, in New York, in Los Angeles. He never called ahead. He never brought an entourage. He'd just walk in, often wearing a disguise. A hat pulled low, sunglasses, sometimes a fake mustache that fooled nobody but made the kids laugh. The nurses learned to expect him. They'd leave a side door unlocked for him. They'd quietly let him know which children were having the hardest time that week, and Ali would go to them first. One nurse, Margaret Williams, who worked the night shift, remembered a particular visit in 1977. There was a little girl named Emma. She was 7 years old and dying of brain cancer. She hadn't spoken in 2 weeks. Her parents were devastated. They'd been told she might only have days left. Ali walked into Emma's room around 11 p.m. Her parents were asleep in chairs beside her bed. Ali gently woke them up and asked if he could spend some time with Emma alone. For the next 3 hours, Ali sat beside Emma's bed. He held her hand. He talked to her about butterflies and heaven and how brave she was. He told her about his own fears, his own struggles. He sang songs to her, quietly so as not to wake the other children. Around 2 a.m., Emma squeezed Ali's hand. Her eyes opened, and she spoke her first words in 2 weeks. "Are you really Muhammad Ali?" Ali smiled, with tears streaming down his face. "I am. And you're really Emma, the bravest little girl I've ever met." Emma lived for 3 more months. She woke up the next day and started talking again. She told her parents that Muhammad Ali had visited her and that he'd told her she was brave. Her parents thought she dreamed it, until the nurses confirmed it was real. Ali visited Emma 7 more times before she passed away. He was at her funeral, sitting in the back, wearing sunglasses. Most people there didn't recognize him. That's how he wanted it. Stories like Emma's were repeated dozens of times over the years. Ali had a special gift with dying children. He didn't treat them like they were fragile or broken. He treated them like they were champions. Dr. Rebecca Morrison, who was a resident at Children's Hospital in the late 1970s, remembered Ali's approach. Other celebrities would come in, and you could see them struggling with the sadness of it all. They'd smile, but you could tell they wanted to leave. Not Ali. He was genuinely joyful. He'd make jokes. He'd do his shuffle dance in the hallways. He'd challenge kids to races down the corridor in their wheelchairs. He understood something that most adults don't. These kids didn't want pity. They wanted to feel normal. They wanted to laugh. Ali's magic tricks became legendary in the hospital. He'd learned sleight of hand specifically for these visits. His favorite trick was making a quarter disappear and then pulling it out of a sick child's ear. "Your head is leaking money," he'd shout, making the kids giggle. "We better get you to a bank before you go broke." One boy, Daniel Martinez, who was battling Hodgkin's lymphoma, remembered Ali teaching him the trick. He spent 2 hours one night showing me how to palm a coin. He said, "When you get out of here, you're going to be the coolest kid in school with this trick." I was 12 years old and felt like I'd been given a superpower. Daniel survived his cancer. Today, he's a pediatric oncologist himself, and he still does magic tricks for his patients. Ali taught me that healing isn't just about medicine. It's about giving kids hope and joy in the middle of their darkness. But Ali's visits weren't always joyful. He saw children die. He held their hands as they took their last breaths. He attended funerals that nobody knew he attended. And it broke his heart every single time.
Patricia Hughes, the nurse who confronted Ali that night in 1976, remembered Ali in the hospital chapel one Thursday night. "I walked in and found him sitting in the dark, crying. I asked him if he was okay, and he said, 'I lost one tonight, a little boy named Marcus, 7 years old. I've been visiting him for 6 months. He told me last week that he wanted to be a boxer like me, and tonight he's gone.'" Ali wiped his tears and stood up. "But I can't stop coming," he told Patricia, "because for every child I lose, there are 10 more who need someone to believe in them, who need someone to make them laugh, who need someone to remind them they're not just sick kids, they're warriors." The emotional toll of these visits was something Ali rarely talked about. His wife, Veronica, who was married to him during much of this period, later revealed that Ali would come home from these hospital visits and sit in silence for hours. She said, "He'd just stare out the window. I knew those visits cost him something emotionally, but he never stopped going. Never."
In 1980, Ali's visits became less frequent as his boxing career was winding down and his own health was beginning to decline. He was starting to show the early signs of what would later be diagnosed as Parkinson's disease. His hands were beginning to tremble slightly. His speech was occasionally slurred. But the children didn't care about any of that. To them, he was still the greatest. One of Ali's last regular hospital visits was in 1983. He walked into the room of a 15-year-old girl named Jessica Palmer, who was dying of cystic fibrosis. Jessica was a huge boxing fan and had posters of Ali on her hospital room wall. Ali sat with Jessica for 5 hours that night. They talked about everything: boxing, religion, life, death, fear, hope. Jessica asked Ali if he was scared of dying. Ali thought for a moment, then said, "Every fighter is scared before a fight. But fear doesn't mean you're weak. Fear means you understand what's at stake. You have every right to be scared, but you're still here. You're still fighting. That makes you stronger than fear." Jessica died 2 weeks later, but her mother later said that after Ali's visit, Jessica stopped being afraid. "She told me that if Muhammad Ali said she was brave, then she must be brave. She faced her death with more courage than I could have imagined possible." The secret of Ali's hospital visits didn't become widely known until after his death in 2016. That's when former hospital staff, now retired, began sharing their stories. That's when children who had survived, now adults with children of their own, started revealing what Ali had meant to them. A man named Robert Chen, who had been treated for leukemia as a child in 1975, wrote an article that went viral. "Muhammad Ali saved my life and nobody ever knew about it. He visited me every week for 8 months. He made me believe I could win. He told me I was a champion. And when I wanted to give up, I'd remember what Ali said. 'You're tougher than any opponent I've ever faced.' I'm 54 years old now. I have 3 kids and 2 grandchildren, and none of them would exist if Muhammad Ali hadn't cared enough to visit a dying kid in secret." Over the years, estimates suggest that Ali visited over 500 children in hospitals, maybe more. Nobody kept a record because Ali didn't want there to be a record. He didn't want credit. He didn't want recognition. He wanted to serve. In Islamic tradition, which Ali followed deeply, there's a concept called sadaqah jariyah, ongoing charity that continues to benefit people long after you're gone. But there's also a teaching that the best charity is the kind nobody knows about, the kind you give in secret, purely for the sake of God, not for recognition or reward. Muhammad Ali lived that teaching. For nearly a decade, while the world knew him as a boxer, a champion, a controversial figure, a loudmouth, he was also something else in secret: a comforter of the suffering, a bringer of joy to the joyless, a friend to children who desperately needed one.
Patricia Hughes, the nurse who confronted Ali that night in 1976, worked at Children's Hospital for 30 more years. She retired in 2006. In her retirement speech, she told the story of Ali's secret visits for the first time publicly. "I've seen hundreds of celebrities come through these halls," Patricia said. "Actors, athletes, musicians, politicians. Most of them were good people who genuinely cared. But Muhammad Ali was different. He didn't come because it was good publicity. He came because he couldn't not come. Those kids were part of him. Their fight was his fight. And he never stopped fighting for them, even when nobody was watching." Today, at Children's Hospital in Louisville, there's a small plaque in the pediatric cancer ward that most visitors walk past without noticing. It reads, "In memory of Muhammad Ali, who taught us that true greatness is measured not by the fights you win, but by the hands you hold in the dark." The plaque was placed there by the children Ali visited, the ones who survived, who grew up, who never forgot the night a champion walked into their room and made them feel like they were the champions. One of those survivors, now a mother herself, perhaps said it best, "The whole world knew Muhammad Ali as the greatest, but only we knew the truth, that his greatest fights weren't in the ring at all. They were in hospital rooms, holding the hands of dying children, giving them something more powerful than medicine. He gave us hope. He gave us dignity. He gave us love, and he never asked for anything in return." Muhammad Ali once said, "Service to others is the rent you pay for your room here on earth." For nearly a decade, every Thursday night, Ali paid his rent in full, in secret, in the dark, where only God and dying children could see. And maybe that's exactly how he wanted it. If this story moved you, share it with someone who needs to be reminded that true greatness has nothing to do with fame or recognition. It has everything to do with what you do when nobody's watching. It has everything to do with the love you give when there's nothing to gain but the knowledge that you made someone's darkness a little brighter. Muhammad Ali was the greatest, but not because of his boxing, because of his heart.